We are back in Japan, but not for any good reasons. Actually, for all the bad and scary reasons, because this country is packed with the supernatural. But I think we already knew that. I'm your host Andrew, and here are your top 10 Japanese urban legends that are very real. Number 10, the cursed Kleenex commercial. In 1986, Kleenex released a commercial in Japan that has sparked a series of disturbing urban legends. The ad featured a woman in white and an ogre-looking child sitting on a pile of hay and enjoying Kleenex tissues while the song It's a Fine Day by Jane and Barton played in the background. While almost instantly after the commercial was aired, TV stations and Kleenex corporate allegedly began receiving complaints about the ad, which many found very unsettling. Some people claim that the entire film crew met untimely deaths in freak accidents following this, while others said that the child in the commercial had passed away immediately after filming. There are also rumors that the actress Kaiku Matsuzaka had either passed away or been committed to a psychiatric hospital or even became pregnant with a demon baby following the commercial. Others claim that when the ad came on at night, the singer's voice in the commercial transformed from that of a young soprano to a raspy old woman's, and the ad became so unsettling to the public that Kleenex eventually pulled it and replaced it with a different one. However, after doing further research, Kaiku Matsuzaka, the girl in the video, is alive and well, and besides that, it's not that bad of an ad. Or at least I think that. At a number 9 spot, we have the Sony Timer. The Sony Timer, also known as the Sony Kill Switch, is a rumored feature that is said to exist in electronic devices produced by Sony. The feature was that Sony devices were equipped with a timer that causes the product to stop functioning after a predetermined period of time, forcing you to purchase a replacement. Considering the stuff we know about the Apple updates slowing your phone down, this is really not a surprise now. Anyways, the legend of the Sony Timer originated in Japan in the 1980s and early 1990s, and despite the lack of concrete evidence to support the myth, a significant portion of the Japanese population believed in it. The legend remained confined in Japan until 2006, when a recall of over 4 million Dell laptops equipped with defective Sony lithium batteries rekindled the legend of the Sony Timer. And despite Sony's efforts to contain the rumor, it eventually came to the knowledge of consumers outside of Japan and had a negative impact on the sales of Sony Vaio laptop computers. Then more recently in 2021, the legend resurfaced once again when an anti-cheat measure in the PlayStation Network had the potential to render games unplayable on certain PlayStation consoles. But much of this is still speculation, and such a thing is not confirmed whether or not it truly existed, but we really know that they try to make our devices bad, so they want us to buy a replacement. We all know that. At a number 8 spot, we have the Alice killings. The Alice killings remain one of the most mysterious and unsolved serial killings in Japanese history. From 1999 to 2005, 5 killings took place, each with a calling card left at the scene by the killer. More specifically, a playing card with the word Alice would be written on it on the victim's blood. The victims were diverse, ranging from a restaurant owner to a high school student to a college student to a nurse. However, they all shared the eerie and gruesome playing card left at the scene of their murders. The first victim, Sasaki Megumi, was a 29-year-old restaurant owner known for her strong personality and excellent cooking. She was last seen alive walking home from a party, and the next morning her body was found in the woods, torn apart and impaled on tree branches, with the Jack of Spades card found in her mouth. The second victim, Yamane Akio, was a singer whose body was found in a bar. His vocal cords ripped out and a gunshot wound to the head. The King of Diamonds card was found in his hands. The third victim, Kai Sakura, was a high school student whose body was found in a shallow grave, mutilated and with a crown sewn onto her head. The Queen of Clubs card was found on a stick marking the grave. The fourth victim, Hasegawa Hiroki, was a college student whose body was found with the Ace of Spades card. The fifth and final victim, Takahashi Ayumi, was a nurse whose body was found with the Joker card. After doing further research, fortunately this person never existed in Japan, but in reality there was a serial killer who was caught that was using playing cards, except it was in Spain, not Japan. They were caught in 2003 and sentenced to 142 years in prison, and not to worry, they do not have a pack of playing cards with them, nor will I think they will ever be allowed to play with cards ever again. Number 7, the Howling Inunaki Tunnel. The legend of the Inunaki Tunnel and the village has been a source of fascination in Japan for decades. Located in the remote mountains of the Fukuoka prefecture, the tunnel is said to be haunted by the ghosts of those who went missing inside of it, and is only accessible through an abandoned village called the Inunaki village. According to the legend, all who enter the village are doomed to a violent death, and the Japanese constitution does not apply there. The legend of the Inunaki Tunnel and village may have been inspired by a real-life murder that took place in the tunnel in 1988. According According to the story, a group of teens kidnapped, robbed, and tortured a young man before burning him alive in the tunnel. The tunnel, being remote and rarely used by traffic, was a popular spot for gangs, and the brutal murder likely contributed to the creation of the legend in the first place. Today, the tunnel is considered one of the most haunted places in Japan, with large concrete bricks blocking its entrance, but that hasn't stopped adventurers from trying to enter it. Locals say that electronic devices and even their cars often break down when they're around this tunnel, and that others sometimes hear the sounds of barking dogs and ghostly screams emanating from deep inside of the tunnel. The legend has inspired numerous films and books and other sorts of media, including the 2020 film Howling from Ju-on creator Takashi Shimizu. Number 6. The Yamauba. Ever wanted to take a hike in the mountains of Japan? Well, just be on the lookout for the Yamauba, also known as the Mountain Witch, who supposedly resides in these elevated regions of the country. Yamauba is often depicted as an old woman with long unkept hair and a wild experience who lives in the mountains and is associated with the spirit world. According to the stories, this creature is a benevolent figure who helps lost travelers find their way home, while in other stories, she is portrayed as a malevolent being who lures people into the mountains and causes them to go missing. Some locals claim that she was once a regular girl who ran into the mountains to escape false accusations. Here she grew angry and resentful and would eventually have cannibalistic tendencies along with practicing black magic. So on your next hike, don't be deceived by anyone you might come across, because the amount of encounters with this creature leads me to believe that she's really up there in the mountains of Japan. Number 5. Kagome Kagome. Kagome Kagome is a Japanese children's game, and in the game, a group of children joins hands and walks around in circles around a child who is chosen to be the Oni, or demon. The Oni sits in the center of the circle with their eyes covered, while the other children sing the Kagome Kagome song. When the song is over, the Oni has to guess the name of the person standing directly behind them. This game takes a sinister twist when a group of people found themselves caught in the game on a foggy suspension bridge. In this case, the group was split into 2 cars, with the first car carrying 3 people and the second car carrying 4 people. So when they reach the bridge, it is already getting dark and the fog is not helping. The first car comes to a halt and the couple gets out, joining hands. They then climb over the railing of the bridge and throw themselves off, much to the shock and horror of the other passengers. One of the other people in the car is found talking to themselves, repeatedly muttering the quote, "mustn't go." The couple is later found dead and is ruled to have both taken their lives. When they ask the remaining survivors of the first car what happened, they say that a girl wearing kimono suddenly appeared in front of their car, causing them to stop. This is when they said that their car was encircled by a group of children who then began saying Kagome Kagome. The children were enticing the passengers to join hands with them, and the couple eventually gave in, while the manager was protected by religiously repeating the phrase, "mustn't go." Number 4. The Red Room Curse. The Red Room Curse is a legend that has long circulated on the internet in Japan, with various versions of the story being told. At its core, the legend involves a mysterious pop-up ad that appears on a person's computer, announcing their impending death. According to the most common version of the legend, while browsing the internet, the victim will be presented with a pop-up featuring a black text on a red background that says, "Do you like blank?" When the victim tries to close the pop-up, it reappears with the text changed to "Do you like the red room?" and the screen turns red, displaying a list of names of the red room's victims. After seeing the pop-up, the victim will sense a mysterious presence behind them and then lose consciousness. They will later be found dead in their home, with the walls of the room in which they are discovered painted red with blood. The origins of the legend can be traced back to a Japanese interactive horror animation that was uploaded to GeoCities in the late 1990s. However, the legend gained notoriety in 2004 due to the Sasebo slashing, a murder case involving a young girl who was a fan of the animation and had the video bookmarked on her computer at the time of the murder. So there is some truth to this. But what do you guys think about the curse? Real or not? Number 3. The cursed poem Tomino's Hell. Published by Japanese poet Seiju Yasu, it is said that one of his poems named Tomino's Hell is cursed and could kill or haunt people if read loud. So just to not die, I'll be playing it safe and I'll just show you the poem rather than reading it. In 1974, Japanese filmmaker Terayama Suji directed a movie based on Tomino's Hell. Unfortunately, he ended up passing away in 1983. This is where people first believed that the movie was cursed, since a poem was used and read in the movie. As time went by, people began forgetting about the incident, but then in 2004, one Japanese writer published a book based on the poem, saying, quote, "If you by chance happen to read the poem out loud, after you will suffer from a terrible fate which cannot be escaped." It's said that even hearing someone saying the poem out loud can lead your life into disaster or even death. So let's read it out loud. I'm just kidding, everyone relax. Nowadays, this poem is feared internationally, but for those who remain skeptical, come on, give this one a read. Number 2, The Curse of the Colonel. This might be odd to hear, but apparently a baseball team in the Kansai region of Japan named the Hanshin Tigers are supposedly cursed by the ghost of Colonel Sanders. Yes, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken. According to legend, the curse was placed on the team because of the Colonel's anger over the treatment of one of his storefront statues, which was thrown in the Dotonbori River by celebrating Hanshin fans after their team victory in the 1985 Japanese Championship, which was thrown in the Dotonbori River by celebrating Hanshin fans after their team's victory in the 1985 Japan Championship Series. The curse was said to explain the team's subsequent 18-year losing streak, and many people believe that the team would never win another Japanese series until the statue was recovered. The curse has also been compared to the curse of the Bambino, which is said to afflict the Boston Red Sox until they won the World Series in 2004. Despite the supposed curse, the Hanshin Tigers have appeared in the Japan Series 3 times since the statue has been thrown into the river, losing in 2003, losing in 2005, and losing in 2014. Whether or not the curse of the Colonel is real, it has become an enduring and fascinating part of the Japanese sports legends, and also the first time I've ever heard of the Kentucky Fried Chicken founder cursing something. Number 1, human sacrifice at the Maruoka Castle. The Maruoka Castle, also known as the Mist Castle, is a Hirayama-style Japanese castle located in the city of Sakai. It is considered to be one of the oldest castles in Japan and is said to be protected by a mist that appears whenever an enemy is nearby. According to the legend, the castle was built at the end of the Sengoku period in the 1500s with the use of human sacrifice known as hitobashira. The practice of hitobashira, or human pillars, was believed to appease deities and protect against natural and man-made disasters. For those who don't know, it is basically making humans into the stone pillars and the walls that make up a building. It was commonly used in the construction of large buildings such as castles, dams, and bridges. However, the story of Maruoka's castle's Hitobashira centers around a woman named Oshizu, who is a poor one-eyed mother of 2. When the construction of the castle was plagued by problems and the walls kept collapsing, a vassal suggested the use of human sacrifice. And this is when Oshizu was chosen for the sacrifice, and she only agreed to this on the condition that one of her children would be made into a samurai. Oshizu was entombed under the pillars of the castle, with stones being placed on top of her as she was slowly being crushed to death. It is said that she accepted her fate stoically, knowing that her children would have a better future as a result. After her sacrifice, the walls of the castle remained standing, and the construction continued without further issues. However, the man responsible for the castle's construction, Shibata Katsutoya, did not follow through on his promise to make Oshizu's son a samurai. As a result, Oshizu's spirit returned to haunt the castle, causing the moat to overflow every spring in a phenomenon known as the Tears of Oshizu. To this day, the Maruoka Castle is said to be haunted by the vengeful spirit of Oshizu. Some claim to have seen her ghost wandering the castle grounds or heard her haunting cries in the castle during some nights. Well, these are the top 10 Japanese urban legends that are very real. What did you guys think about this list? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts and some suggestions for future videos. I'm your host Andrew, and don't forget to like and subscribe this video for some more content. I hope you guys have a scary day.